Hello everyone! As has been the case every Saturday for a while, we take another dive into the mysterious world of the Forgotten Languages website, exploring its ties with UFOs. Today's topics include galactic life and computation zones and UFOs, drones and the element rubidium. At the end of this video we will have a tie-in to the Ulara event we have discussed previously, but let us start from the beginning. On the 15th of April 2016, the website posted an article titled PGC 3074547 and the Galactic Computing Zone. Well, the acronym composed of letters and numbers stands for the Boomerang Nebula, a chunk of space where stars are being formed as we speak, but most importantly, it is currently the coldest place we know of in the universe, hovering just about 1 degree Kelvin, so 1 degree above the absolute zero. And what needs cooling, as we often hear recently? Data centers. What gives here? Let us discover in the English passages of the text.
Any practical search for other galactic complex biospheres and extraterrestrial civilizations should be steered towards the outskirts of the galactic disk and stellar systems younger than ours. This is in accordance with our present lack of study results. We may not be alone out there after all, but we are older than they are. I think the game the hologrammer is playing goes something like this. The galactic habitable zone is clearly a narrow band located at an equal distance from the active galactic nuclei and the outer rim of the galaxy. In order to evolve, you need more and more energy and more processing power to run the cosmic computer. To obtain the required energy to power that computer, you need to deploy AGN energy collecting devices as close to the AGN as possible. On the other hand, for your computer to be able to operate, you need to locate it in the coldest region possible, that is, at the opposite end of the galaxy. Problem is, how do you manage to send the collected energy from the AGN to the other end of the galaxy?
Well, we see the computational part here. We also have the recurring reference to the fact that life as we know it may have been engineered. Not only the site mentions terraforming of planets including Earth, but also seeding of said planets with targeted and bioengineered organisms. It does not even require direct manipulation of genomes like the proponents of the Anunnaki theory claim. It would be fully possible for a really advanced civilization to play as engineered organisms tailored to the given planetary conditions and then let the nature run its course, so to say, and this requires computation and data, of course.
Boomerang Nebula might be an indication that there are other places within the galaxy in which to locate the computing megastructures. It may be they don't need to do it in the outskirts of the galaxy. So, you need to move energy collectors some 26 kY from where you are and deploy your processing units some 50 kly away towards the outer rim. You can only do this if you look for cooperation from other civilizations. And you have only 12 billion years to do it.
If I understand the text correctly, there would indeed be a galaxy-wide computational system, and its ultimate purpose would be monitoring the galaxy for sentience, or rather civilizations built upon it. That actually makes sense if the architects running the LIFE project wanted to monitor how their progress goes. Which planets managed to break to the technological level and which did not. The thought is fascinating in its own right. And the last paragraph we are going to mention here stresses this to be just the case.
Any life at all requires an incomprehensible level of calibration in order to exist anywhere in the galaxy. This calibration is so precise that we now think it is the result of a design. A design whose purpose is to seed the galaxy with outposts of intelligent life distributed in such a way as to optimize the distribution of collected energy from the active galactic nuclei towards the outer colder rim of the galaxy, which is the place where you won't find life at all, but you will find the megastructures that gives life a purpose.
This article is followed by a slightly different topic posted on the 21st of April, NGA's UFOs. National Geospatial Intelligence Agency and the rubidium hot gas drones. Well, we have technology mentioned. Could it be that some advanced drones are perceived as UFOs? This is exactly what some people think happened in the late 2024 in the United States, especially in the Northeast, and in autumn of 2025 over Europe. Does the article talk about this?
While working on the preparation of the Antineutrino Global Map 2015, a map of the Earth's natural and man-made antineutrino flux, we met data that was abnormal and could not be fully explained as natural or man-made. Data clearly indicated it couldn't be natural, or at least we were not able to trace it down to a natural source. The only logic explanation was the flux was coming from a man-made source. However, the signals didn't correlate to any known nuclear power plants or any other fission process that we were aware of, so we ruled out a man-made source for these signals.
I think this article latches on some of the threads running swiftly through ufology. Radiation is the first one coming to my mind here. It is fairly well known that UFOs are drawn to radiation sources for whatever purposes they may. Studies of neutrinos, those mysterious particles running and passing through everything at the speed of light, are also fascinating, and as neutrinos accompany nuclear transformations, it does indeed make sense to invoke them here. The next paragraph mentions the Taos mountain range. Taos is known for being a possible UFO crash site, one which happened close to 1950. But for the life of me, I could not find any more detailed information about this event.
The Taos Range is underlain by Precambrian metamorphic rocks, mostly granite and granite gneiss, and a tertiary complex of volcanics and intrusives. The special thing about Cuesta is that there we have a strategic molybdenum mine area. Not that we are interested in the molybdenum as is, we are interested in the rhenium. Now it looks like they are also interested, or maybe they always were.
Next, we see a connection and the fact that there are indeed sightings which escape the usual explanations, including highly advanced but still terrestrial technology. Interestingly enough, the events seem to be scattered all over the world. And at the end we have yet another tie leading to the Gizeh site in Iran, behind the mysterious event of 1976.
Assuming the phenomena we witness is not natural and not man-made, there's a clear interest in knowing what it is and who is behind those sightings. The only 6 sightings that we could by then clearly classify as extraterrestrial are those of Mount Isa, Zhezkazgan, Luoboling, and the ones detected in British Columbia. Later on we learned about the Atacama and Namibia events, and after requesting help from the denied, they gave us a pointer to Gizeh, in Iran. All rhenium-rich sulfide copper ore deposits seems to be a hotspot for whatever reason. In our view, those things are geochemical-sounding probes showing a strong preference for molybdenum deposits rich in rhenium. Those hotpots are the only place where you can record and have a good view at those things. They hover for hours in close proximity and pay no attention to our presence. They certainly weren't hiding themselves, so we can do our intel gathering job without issues.
The second part seems maybe odd, with so many UFO sightings taking place in remote locations, over and under the sea and so on. And yet it seems that UFOs are actually encountered close to places like mines much more often than it would seem at the first glance. Are those craft looking for minerals of a specific kind there? And it seems those could be probes rather than full-scale UFOs. It seems that those finds, including what could be a probe mothership perhaps, have been reverse engineered.
The thing we recovered at Cupane, near Tacna, in the northern part of Chile, was identical to the one recovered in Luoboling, China. Look, the settings are so tiny that a person having the coordinates of the site where the object fell would be likely to look in almost any other place than where it actually is. Lost Creek site was nicknamed Brick Call Site 17. It is located some 18 miles from Selmo in British Columbia. That was the place where we recovered the bigger object, the one that was reverse engineered and denied by the denied team. It is a phenomenally complicated stuff and a technical wonder. The spheres are filled with a gas such that when a resonant light pulse impinges upon it, the pulse is strongly absorbed, exciting the atoms to an upper state. The emitter, or what we think it is the emitter for a lack of a better name, sends a second pump beam which couples a second state to the same excited state, causing an electromagnetically induced transparency effect. What happens then is not fully understood. The whole object then glows as a tiny star with a blinding light that can be seen from far away and starts moving in midair.
Those objects may be some kind of scanners, as the next paragraph expounds upon their role, capabilities, and functionality. The hints from the text also seem to suggest that the reverse-engineered craft are being tested, and it would not be too far-fetched to imagine some of them are being mistaken for bona fide non-human craft.
These objects are used to store three-dimensional complex light fields, and they can store elaborate temporal shapes, thus storing 3D information. In our view, they are sort of highly advanced drones used in recce missions on specific targets. At one point, they met in the sky and merged with other such probes, forming a bigger orb that then flew away and disappeared. Most probably they headed towards the UFO. We chose Nordland's AMT as our launch site because it is close to Hestalen, where there are geochemical phenomena occurring that would allow us to perform our tests without calling unwanted attention.
Last but not least, the last paragraph ties a lot of UFO-related lore the site posts in general. We have mill orbs, the military orb type craft seen often around the world, paradigm shifter vehicles, which would be commonly mistaken for UFOs, I think. We learned that the event at Ulara may have involved a fallen angel and not to eschatology, which is an emerging and strong trend observed in ufology lately.
We processed some 19,000 reported sightings. We removed those which lacked instrumental correlation, those which were reported just by human witnesses, those that correlated to natural phenomena and re-entry events, those which we know are ours. Either civilian, mill orbs, or PSVs, those which correlate to our mill DSP activities, the entire set of Ockridge and Swordfish tests, and those from the Navy that were correlated to our neutrino communication system. All in all, only 6 final unknowns remain. Mount Isa, Zeskosgan, Luaboling, Kalawasi, Walvis Bay, and the Cuesta events. Of these, the recent MT ISA event is of prime importance because it is the first time we can correlate orb activities with the Ulara's fallen angel. That the Giselle site object, the object from Cupane, and the one from Luaboling are identical proves their source and origin is the same.
So, what do you think, dear viewers? Is it possible that we are being monitored in a scenario similar to a reverse SETI, so an option where aliens are looking for how the civilizations, the seeds of which they may have planted, are doing? And likewise, do you think there is a network of drones operating all over the world with possible ties to UFOs? And last but not least, to the mysterious Gizalians? Let me know in the comment section down below. This has been an extremely busy week for me, but I am glad I could make another episode of this series. We may accelerate a bit going through the articles forward, as many of the topics recur and some articles do not bring that much novelty to the table. But we are still maybe 1/3 of the entire history of the website in, so stay tuned. Thank you very much for watching, like and subscribe if you enjoyed the content, and I will see you soon in another video. Take care.